Glad to see you back. I know you might be quite overwhelmed right now, but we're going to slow the pace down and we're just going to get into this to help you feel a bit more relaxed and wind down from a long day. I know a lot of the times you feel overwhelmed, feeling behind and almost feeling tired of trying. I think that's normal. I go through it, and I think plenty of other people go through it as well, but they just don't want to show it. Perhaps you feel disconnected, that life simply isn't as enjoyable as it could have been. But I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't be dwelling on the past. Dwelling on the past hasn't really helped anyone, and sitting in a negative state doesn't help anyone either. But I think one of the biggest things you might be dealing with is feeling like you should be further ahead, where you'll see so many people online in all of these amazing places. They're having these amazing experiences. They're living a life that you believe you'd want as well, but it can often feel so far and out of reach. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like a lot of the times we will just instinctively compare ourselves and feel completely dissatisfied with where we're at. I know a lot of the times we just want that result immediately. We want to break out of the cage that we feel like we're trapped in. And we can't get anywhere. We're almost withheld from the life that we want to have, and it feels so out of reach. But just know that it is a journey. It is a journey, and everyone had to do some form of work to get to where they're at. One of the most important things is enjoying the process. Enjoying the process and enjoying the time and effort that you can put in now. Because if you don't enjoy the process of what you're doing right now to get to where you want to be, chances are you're never going to enjoy what you're doing. And a lot of the times what people show online is not always what's happening inside. Although we'd love to convince ourselves otherwise, and we'd love to convince ourselves that they have a more perfect life, there's always problems that they're hiding away, always problems that they're not showing, because, well, why would they? But just know that if you're not where you're at the moment, that's okay. These things do take time, and in time you'll be able to work more so towards the things that are meaningful to you. And eventually, as long as you put in the work, you'll start getting closer to the place, the person, and the life that you want to have and be. And see, a lot of people, feel this way, but they never say it. Where they'll have this immense amount of pressure to become something, to be something meaningful to someone else. And I know for me, I've almost felt that as well, where sometimes it feels as if no one really cares, where perhaps you're on your own and you'd want people to be more interested in you, but at the end of the day, it's just you, and you need to put in the work in order to get the life you want, in order to create the relationships and the bonds that you're looking for. And that can weigh quite heavily sometimes. But I don't always think that's a bad thing. I believe that all things that are difficult in life, or at least all things that are meaningful in life, are worth fighting for. It's worth, putting in the work for, but if you try and venture for all of them, if you try and put in the work for every single thing, if you try and chase every opportunity and try and improve in all these different areas in one go, you can collapse, you can burn out, and that's never any good, because then you feel like you're back to track one. I also know how easy it is to judge yourself a lot of the times, whether you don't feel like you look as good, whether you believe that you could have been in a better place, or whether you're still stuck on the regrets of your past self, the regrets that you still hold on to for years and years, wishing you had said that, wishing you had done that, or wishing you could have done this thing if only you had gone and done the few things. And it's so easy to slip back into the past, where we look back onto our regrets and what we could have had, and it doesn't help you, it doesn't help anyone, because at the end of the day, we're all just going at our world in our own pace. But it doesn't help when you're always looking back in the past, when in reality all you can focus on is what you have now. The future is even a bad thing to look into too much of the time. You'll look at all the sort of life that you could have, and if you can get that, and I know a lot of the times, myself included, we can look at the future and we can feel quite anxious. We worry if we're going to get the life we want. We worry if we're capable. We worry about what's going to stop us. But that's all natural. It's all natural, and we all have our own problems to solve. It's just a matter of choosing which problems you want to solve and then going from there. Because you can't always just keep plowing away at life and assuming that you're never going to have any problems. And I think this is where a lot of people can get stuck. A lot of people want to avoid problems. They want to have a life without problems, and I think that makes sense. But I think the biggest issue is when you try to avoid all problems and all confrontations and difficult conversations, which end up coming back up to bite you later down in life. And sometimes we need to sit here and get honest with ourselves. We need to realize that actually maybe we're not where we want to be. Maybe we don't have the lifestyle we want. Maybe we don't look the way we want to look. But just know that if that's the case, there's no rush. But just know that it's putting in the work now, no matter how small, right? It's like there's no real rush, and there's so much stuff online that will say how I achieved this result in this amount of days or in this short period of time, and we feel as if that if we can't hit that time period, if we can't hit that as well, then there's something wrong with us. That we just didn't want it enough, that we just couldn't do it. And that would hurt even more, so I feel like a lot of the time we don't even try. We don't even give ourselves that chance. So if there is something you want to work on, set some sort of small plan, small commitment. A commitment so small that you know you could turn up to that every single day if you wanted to. Because the struggle that you feel inside with yourself every day is not something that you should hate. I believe it's something which can help you push you forward. I believe depending on the type of person you are, you're probably pretty good at figuring out what's like, what you don't have, and what you do and you don't like, and working that out from there. But just know that time isn't against you, right? Sure, time is always moving, but as long as you're putting consistent energy towards the things that are meaningful to you, I can't see an issue there. And I think so many of us want to rush to get the outcome so quickly that we want to avoid the process that is in fact probably the most enjoyable part. And no matter what thing you're working on, I think you're going to find that you're going to enjoy the process far more than the end goal. And if you don't enjoy the process, you're going to struggle to get the end goal. So it's finding what best aligns with you and what you believe is going to give you the most fulfillment with the energy that you put in. And know that if you're struggling right now with whatever goal that you're working towards, that is not failure. And everyone continues at different paces. Some people get results quicker than others. That doesn't always mean that there's an issue with you. Some people had more experience, some people got information, and others simply did work a bit harder. But the point being is that you should live life on your own terms. You should live life on your own terms. You shouldn't have to listen to other people, and you shouldn't have to follow the rules set by other people for a life that simply wasn't meant for you. And so, as I'm speaking, I want you to also realize that resting is not weakness. Resting is so crucial, where you can simply switch off from all the chaos in the world, and you can come back to you, come back to your thoughts. And a lot of the thoughts might not be very nice. A lot of the thoughts might make you anxious, might make you feel perhaps even depressed even. But what matters the most is that you are human, and you cannot keep pushing through over and over. And even the people online who keep trying to push through always end up burning out at some place or another. And some people have it worse than others. Which is why rest is important. And I think probably the trickiest thing we often deal with is, well, what is too much rest? What is too much work? Am I working enough? Am I resting too long? And we always compare what we do to others, which becomes such a difficulty because there's so many people online that tell us how long we should work, how long we should rest, what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And so we feel constrained by lots of different rules set by plenty of other people who are following rules set by other people. So this is where I believe a lot of people get stuck. A lot of people feel guilty sometimes for simply living and wanting to do things they want to do. But I think what matters the most is that as long as you are living life on your own terms, and you are working towards things that are meaningful to you, I believe you can do whatever you want. Because I believe, again, you should live life on your own terms. And sometimes you're going to encounter uncertainty. Sometimes you might not always know what to do, what the best choice is, and how you should manage an issue. But just know that that doesn't mean that you're broken by any means. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just simply a natural situation that happens from time to time. If I'm going to leave you with anything today, I want you to know that try and figure out one small thought you can let go of today. One small insecurity or problem that you have felt that keeps popping back up that perhaps you know isn't true. That perhaps is a problem or a issue that other people have told you is an issue, but you don't believe it is. Perhaps even let go of a small expectation that you should soften. Perhaps you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Perhaps the expectations you demand of yourself are simply too high. I'm not saying you shouldn't have expectations. What I am saying is that demanding way too much of yourself, although it seems good short term, can actually damage you quite more than you realize. Also look for an area where you can stop being so hard on yourself. I know it can be quite challenging where we believe that we need to be so much more than what we are now. And honestly, I'm the same. But at the same time, you're the only one experiencing what you're experiencing. That's unique to you. So if you always feel like life is this massive challenge and that it's incredibly restricting, then maybe you should try being less hard on yourself. And the last thing I want to say is try and figure out one way to re-enter the next day with less pressure. where you can start your day off a little calmer, start your day off in a bit of a better headspace, so that you can just keep working at what's meaningful to you. That's fine. But just know that for today at least, tomorrow can wait. Today is complete, and you've done enough for today. You're allowed to stop trying so heavily if you want to. You don't have to carry everything into a sleep. I'm effectively giving you a permission to rest. So take this time now to relax, switch off, and I'll catch you very, very soon.